Welcome to the Yoga Method. Today's practice I had the gift of sharing with two of my beautiful friends and students, Shannon and Annie. These two women for me really symbolize eternal hope, optimism, and resilience. Our practice celebrated the sacredness of friendship, the power of simplicity, and the gift that the second half of life brings us in terms of embracing our own authenticity. I hope you enjoy this practice. So we'll begin our practice in child's pose, please. So come and join us when you're ready. So knees wide, big toes together, and just taking a moment to really release your head, release your shoulders. Party hats, making child's pose a little bit more challenging, and we are determined to see if we can do a whole hour of yoga with our party hats in place. But as we pause at the beginning of this new year, I'd like for you to just consciously internally repeat to yourself, I give myself permission to. I give myself permission to. And just seeing what arises for you in this moment as you silently and internally repeat that affirmation. So rather than approaching a new year with another resolution, which often can feel like a form of self-criticism, we are approaching this new year from a sense of self-compassion, self-love. Taking one more breath as you are. And when the time is right for you, I'd love for you just to ease your hands over to the right side of your mat. And please place your left hand on top of your right. And feeling that beautiful length coming in through the left side of your torso. Deliberately flooding more breath into the left side of the body. Creating more spaciousness. And maybe once again, silently affirming, I give myself permission to. Taking one more full deep breath into the left lung. Before we gently ease our way over to the other side. So just taking your time, walking hands all the way across and taking a moment to really flood the breath into the right side of the body as you stack your right hand upon your left. Just noting the places within right side body that are speaking to you and sending the sacred breath into those areas that are holding tension, especially after the holidays. Inviting one more full breath in to open you. One full breath out to release you. And as we bring the hands back to the middle of the mat, please lengthen the arms deliberately. Bring your hands shoulder distance. Spread your fingers. And we're going to navigate our way into our first down dog. So shifting forward onto hands and knees, tucking toes only when you're ready, propelling the hips high. Remembering to bend the knees as much as you need and inviting movement into the body. So I can introduce them while they're upside down and they're kind of dancing in downward facing dog. So beautiful Shannon, extraordinary woman in so many ways, and Annie. So these two women really symbolize for me eternal optimism and resilience. I'll tell you more about them a little bit later. But staying for one more full deep breath as you are. And on your next inhalation, I'd like for you to lift your right leg, which Annie is your left. Oh, she got it. Squaring through the pelvis. Just gazing at your left big toe for a moment. And please exaggerate the length through your arms, through your leg. Lifting through the core. Taking one more full breath in and out. And on our inhalation, we'll lift to the tips of our left toes, look between our hands, and please just step your right foot between as you land your back knee, giving yourself a helping hand if you need. So take a moment to really drop the chest forward, allow the hips to sink, and then lifting through the heart space. So light fingertips on the floor for a moment, and just feeling how your left hip flexor is feeling. Sliding the shoulders away from your ears. Just taking one more full deep breath in and out. We're going to crawl our right hand up to our right knee and then the left as well. Please press tall as you sink low. We just want to take a few moments to really warm the body before moving into our standing flow. And today's practice is really coming back to our foundational postures, kind of letting go of the need to achieve more, the need to search for something more complicated, something more exotic, and just really coming back to our grounding practices, our foundational postures. When the time is right for you, your left hand will reach high on your in-breath, and I'd like for you to shift the whole weight back slightly, beautiful, and then take a gentle side bend over towards your right, opening up the left side of the body. So finding more length from pinky finger to the top of your pelvis. And at the same time, really deliberately engaging through the abdominals and through your left glute to bring the stability we're looking for. Just 2 more breaths. One more full deep breath in and out. On the in-breath, return to the midline, please. Ground your left hand to the inside of that foot. Turn your chest towards us with your right hand pressing into the right knee. Once again, establish whatever's on the floor as your foundation. And then we enhance the foundation by engaging through the core and engaging through our left glute. Take 2 more breaths here. One more full deep breath before we head into Shannon's most favorite posture, Ardha Hanumanasana. So we'll frame the foot and we'll begin to shift the weight back, lengthening through our right leg, lifting through our right toes. Take a moment to really exaggerate the length of your spine, the lift of your heart, and then easing your way in any amount that feels good to your body. Consciously draw the right hip back, left hip forward. And only if it might be possible for you, left hand could hold onto your right foot. You got it. So bringing some warmth and length into our hamstrings and our hip flexors before moving into our deeper postures. Last 2 breaths. One more full deep breath in and out. Please release both hands, grounding into your right foot as you bend your knee. Listen, we're going to pick up our back knee. And then I'd like for you to cross your left foot behind your right at the top of your mat, which is the left end of your mat. There we go. Oh, party hat gone, darn. On the in-breath, lift your heads, lift your hearts. And on your exhalation, bowing in. Ooh, do 3 more of those. Inhale, lift your heads, lift your hearts. And on your exhalation, gently letting go. Last 2, please. Inhaling, lift, lengthen. On your exhalation, gently fold. One more time, exaggerating the lift of the heart, the head. And on the out-breath, gently easing your way in. Please walk your hands towards the right side of your mat. And if the earth is feeling too far away, the hands can rest on the thigh, the calves, or a block if you have one available. But just opening a little bit more through the outer sweep of that left hip. Taking 2 more breaths. One more full, deep, smooth breath in. And out. We're going to walk our hands back to the midline, and we're carefully standing up, so carefully as we spinal roll our way up 1 vertebrae at a time. Our hands will sweep and circle overhead on the in-breath, and then release your left hand to your left thigh on your out-breath. Take a gentle side bend towards your left as you slide your left hand towards your left knee crease. So gripping with the feet, energizing through the legs, feel the lift of Mula Bandha, and breath opening the ribs, releasing any tension that remains. On your next inhalation, you'll take your hands high overhead, both palms press, and then spinal roll your way down. So just bring your hands to your thighs as you open wide, and then rolling down just so slowly, carefully, mindfully towards your feet again, and then grounding your fingertips. And once you feel ready, your left leg will lift just briefly into a supported airplane pose. Finding length from crown to heel, from party hat to heel. Taking one more full breath in, and then begin to bend into your right knee as you land your left toes towards the back of your mat. And please ground your hands and just slide to a downward facing dog. Once again, invite a little bit of movement, just clearing away any stiffness in the body. Taking 2 more breaths with a little bit of movement. Fingers are spread, arms are long and strong, tailbone is lifted high. And as we take that final breath out, just settling into your stillness as you gaze between your feet. It is your right leg that's lifting. No, it's not. That was my fault. It's your left leg that's lifting. My apologies. Square the pelvis, square the shoulders. Press energetically into the hands to really send the energy and the weight of the body backwards. Lifting through the core as we take one more full deep breath in and out. On the inhalation, to the tips of your toes before we step between our hands, please. Help yourself if you need before grounding your right knee to the earth. Take a moment to really stack the knee above the ankle to check that the knee is tracking in alignment with your second and your third toe. And just let the hips descend as you lift through the heart, as you lift through the chin and the chest. Even this is a huge stretch this morning. I don't know about you. Taking 2 more breaths, please. This is how yogis party, right? 6 a.m., doing a yoga practice as we celebrate the new year together. There's 1 more breath remaining here. And then we're climbing up onto our thigh, left hand, and then right. We'll take a moment here to really press the femur forward as we lift into a little tiny baby back bend shape. So the scooping of the pelvis, the lifting of the abdominal wall stabilizes your lower back so that you can safely explore a little bit more extension than you normally have. Take 1 more breath here. And then we'll ease ourselves back slightly as we take our right hand high overhead. So just shift the pelvis back slightly so you're stacking a little bit more shoulders over hips before exploring lateral flexion, easing your way over to your left to open up through the right side more. Reconnect with the abdominals, reconnect with your pelvic floor as you tuck your tailbone deliberately. Sending the breath into all those nooks and crannies that need some TLC. 1 more full deep breath in and out. Before we return to the midline, please ground the right hand on the inside of the left foot and turn your chest towards your left thigh. So just exploring a few shapes, a few different angles to really bring new length and openness through the pelvis. Last 2 breaths. Can you lift the abdominals upwards? Powering into your back leg, even though it's grounded. 1 more full goodbye breath in. And on that exhalation, gazing down, frame your foot, half Hanumanasana, as we walk the hands back and lengthen through the left leg, lifting through the left toes. On the in-breath, we exaggerate the spinal length. And on the exhalation, we'll draw the left hip back, right hip forward, any amount. Finding that beautiful sensation running up the back of your left leg. And if you did on the first side and it's still available, right hand reaching for your left foot. Gently using the strength of your arm to draw you just that little bit deeper. One more breath. before grounding your right hand, grounding your left foot, shifting your weight forward. Please frame your foot, lift your back leg. This is that tricky transition of crossing right foot behind your left. Take your time. On the in-breath, lift your heads, lift your hearts. On the exhalation, ease your way into a forward fold. 4 more. Inhale, really exaggerate the length, the lightness. On the exhalation, easing our way in again. Last 3. Hopefully with each repetition, a little bit more freedom arrives in the body. Last 2. One more time. Beautifully done. As we pause low, we're walking our hands to the left side, and again holding our thighs, our shins, only the floor if it feels really therapeutic and delightful to the body. Our shoulders are relaxing, the breath is deepening, the body is warming. Last 2. And only when you are ready, we'll walk the hands back towards the center of our mat, and we're rolling upwards through our spine very slowly, very deliberately. Articulation through the spine. We'll reach the hands overhead as we breathe in together. And then on the exhalation, it's your right hand to your right thigh. Easing your way into a gentle side bend when the time is right for you. Rolling the shoulder open as you slide towards your knee crease, but at the same time gripping with the feet, energizing the legs, energizing the core. Taking one more full, deep, smooth breath into the left lung. And on our inhalation, our hands will reach overhead, press our palms, release the hands down and around to the tops of your thighs, tuck your chin and roll your way down, one vertebra at a time. Ground your hands when you're ready. It's your right leg that will lift into a supported warrior 3 airplane pose. 2 deep breaths remaining. One more full deep breath in. Listen, release both feet to the top of your mat, which is the right end of your mat, and exhale into your forward fold. Rise and reach all the way up to your extended mountain. Press your palms, look to your thumbs, releasing your hands down and around. Moving into our sun salutations. Inhaling, so behind those clouds, sunrise is happening. Exhale into your forward fold, please. On the inhalation, hands to shins or fingertips to floor, flat back extension. Before we step or hop, first chaturanga of the day, knees or toes if you're ready, elbows tight, eyes forward as we lower. Baby cobra or upward facing dog. And propelling ourselves up and back, downward facing dog. Breathing in together. Breathe out 1. Full breath in, spreading fingers, spreading toes. Breathe out 2. Just one more full breath in. Exhaling 3. On the in-breath to the tips of the toes, please. On the out-breath, bend your knees. Look at the end of the mat. Walking or hopping if you're ready. Lift and lengthen once you arrive. Exhaling into your forward fold. Rise and reach all the way up to your extended mountain before hands circle down and around. Sorry, Shannon. One more time. Just realized Shannon doesn't have room to sweep her arms. On the out breath, over we go into our forward fold. On the in-breath, hands to shins, fingertips to floor, flat back extension. Before stepping or hopping, transitioning knees or toes, belly strong, eyes forward. Baby cobra or upward facing dog. Before moving one last time into downward facing dog. Remembering child's pose is always available if downward facing dog just isn't feeling right to the body, or sometimes our energy levels just don't allow. But taking a fresh perspective as we tip our bodies upside down. One more full deep breath in. and out. On the in-breath, tips of the toes, please. On the exhalation, bend the knees, look at the end of your mat. Walking or hopping, lift, lengthen as we breathe in. Exhaling into your forward fold. Rise and reach, slow, smooth stand. Press your palms, look to your thumbs. Release your hands down and around to Samastitihi. Bring your feet hip distance apart, please. Hands to your hips. A little lift of the heart as we breathe in. And on the exhalation, over we go, hands to the thighs or peace fingers gripping your big toes, please. On the in-breath, lifting heads, lifting hearts. And on the exhalation, gently easing your way into your forward fold. So in this shape, we're always endeavoring to use our hands to support us, to take us that little tiny bit deeper into our fold, but never forcing the body. Always really respecting what the body is telling us in this shape today. Taking one more full deep breath into Padangusthasana. And on the next inhalation, lift your heads, lift your hearts. And on the exhalation, slide your hands underneath the soles of your feet. Take an in-breath once you arrive there safely to lift, to lengthen. And on your exhalation, gently easing your way into your forward fold. So we consciously lift through the belly, lift through the core. At the same time, we're drawing ourselves in deeper using our arms, but also using our core. Taking one more full deep breath in and out. On your inhalation, lift your heads, lift your hearts. On your exhalation, hands to knees or waist. Inhaling to come all the way up to standing before stepping your feet together to Samastitihi. We're stepping to our right, and we're going to open towards the front before pivoting towards your right to set up for Trikonasana, please. So long legs, but not a lock knee. And on your next exhalation, you'll reach beyond and land the hand on the thigh, the shin, or your foot. So we've got this beautiful alignment happening between the heels, so heel to heel alignment. And your left toes are slightly angled towards your right foot. We're stacking the top thumb over the shoulders, and we're gazing upwards only if our balance will allow. So we grip with the feet, we energize the legs and the core, creating this beautiful foundation. Taking 2 more breaths, please. One more full deep breath in. And on your out breath, look at your right big toe, bend deeply into your right knee, and come into a warrior 2 shape. So you might want to widen your stance a little bit by sliding the feet away. And then we check our alignment first again by checking hip and knee. And knee is right above the ankle. We're dynamically stretching across the heart space and really feeling the sacredness of this shape. Taking 2 more breaths as you embody warrior 2. One more full deep breath in and out. On the in-breath, reach over your right knee. Option 1 to land your elbow, variation 2 to hold your ankle, and variation 3 to reach for the floor. And then we circle our left arm down and around past our face, spinning open through the heart space again. You could gaze to the floor, to the front, or you're welcome to look to the palm of your top hand. So press really energetically into your feet, like you're trying to stretch your mat apart. So feel the foundation, and then breathe new lightness into the upper body for 1 more deep breath in and out. Please gaze at your right big toe. And when the time is right for you, press out of your right foot to face us, please. Slightly pigeon toe your feet. Take your arms wide for a moment. On your in-breath, take a moment to expand and open before bending your knees as much as you need, bringing your hands to the earth, please. We can always lengthen the legs, but we'll take an in-breath together to lift the head, to lift the heart momentarily, and then we'll see if our party hats allow us to move into a wide leg forward fold. Not really. So we're pressing into the outer edges of our feet. We're definitely engaging through the core. And we're walking our hands back so the heels of our hands are aligning with our feet. Spread your fingers. Press into the pinky toe side. It's a bit like having a Pinocchio nose. One more deep breath in and out. On the in-breath, we'll lift our heads, we'll lift our hearts, we'll pause. On the exhalation, hands to your knees or your waist. We'll inhale all the way up to standing before setting up for Trikonasana on the other side. So find the foundation, long legs, but not lock knees. And then on the in-breath, we extend towards our left foot. And on the exhalation, we land the left hand on our thigh, our shin, our ankle. If your right shoulder is not happy, just pop that hand on your waist, please. So whatever the shape, it doesn't matter. We're all experiencing the same sensations. And we're honoring the sacredness of our own body's expression. Grip with the feet, energize your legs, your core, and then flood the breath into the places where you're feeling the most sensation. The only question to keep asking is, does this feel good to my body? Does this feel good to my body? And I give myself permission to change my mind. One more full deep breath in. On the out breath, gazing at your left big toe, bending deeply into your left knee and rising to your Virabhadrasana 2. So find the distance of the legs that feels best to you in the shape. And then please check your hip and knee alignment, your knee and ankle alignment. And you're pressing so energetically into your back leg that your right glute becomes active. Just take 2 more breaths as you look towards your middle fingernail. One more full deep breath in and out. On your in-breath, Shannon can't reach very far, but as far as you can reach over your left knee before taking your elbow, taking your ankle, or finding the earth. And then your right arm circles down and around or over top as we come to extended side angle. So the energy of the posture is to roll open, using your arms and your core to support that action. And then always feel the power of your legs, the depth of your breath, and the sacredness in this moment. Giving ourselves permission to move, to breathe, to explore the body in a way that honors us today. One more full deep breath in. And on your exhalation, looking down at your left big toe before rising all the way up and out of the shape. Turn your toes towards us, slightly pigeon toe them. Pop your hands on your waist, please. On your in-breath, create a little bit of a baby back bend shape. And on your exhalation, over we go into our second wide leg forward fold. So if it does not feel safe for you to keep your hands on your hips, you can absolutely follow Annie and just ground your hands instead. So we want to make sure, number one, that we're feeling supported, that we're feeling safe. If you're with Shannon and I, you're squeezing your elbows high, like you're holding an imaginary beach ball, but we're shifting slightly into the balls of the feet to really enhance the stretch we're feeling through hamstrings and adductors. Take one more full breath in and out. And on your inhalation, rising all the way up to standing before we pivot and come into a kneeling lunge position. So right leg will be forward, left leg is back. And when the time is right for you, you'll take your left hand high on your in-breath. And on your exhalation, you'll hook your left elbow across to your right thigh, please. Palms pressing, elbows stacking. So variation 1 in the shape, we're going to gaze to the floor and we're keeping our left knee grounded. Option 2, tuck the back toes, energize the back leg, lift and make that back leg really straight, really powerful. And variation 3, only if it feels right for your body, you can absolutely wiggle your left hand to the earth and take your right hand overhead, just as you did in the previous shape. So please feel the lift of your back leg, a little shift of the weight forward so the heel is stacking over your toes. One more full deep breath in. And on your exhalation, please gaze at your right big toe. Hands to your thighs is a good helping mechanism to ease your way up and back towards the front long edge of your mat. Once we've arrived safely, take hands out on the in-breath. On your exhalation, interlace your fingers behind you. On your in-breath, hearts to ceiling, knuckles towards the earth. And on your exhalation, easing your way forward. So variation 1, if it's feeling better to stay elevated, you will. Variation 2, you're just bending the knees a little bit. And variation 3, you're following these lovely ladies. So once again, press dynamically into the outer edges of your feet. Feel that little shift forward into the balls of your feet. And with each in-breath, you're dynamically lifting the hands towards the ceiling. And on the exhalation, allow gravity to take you just a millimeter further. One more full, deep, deep breath in and out. And on the inhalation, we rise all the way up to standing, tucking the tailbone, lifting the heart, pausing here. Please release your hands, and we're pivoting all the way towards the other end of the mat. So once we find knee over ankle, we'll send our right hand high on the in-breath, and on the exhalation, crossing the midline of the body. So palms will stack, elbows will stack. Press down into your right elbow to lift and revolve your torso. Please, please, please feel free to stay here. Variation 2, with the tuck of the toes, we power into our back leg. And variation 3, you would wiggle your right arm towards the earth and then send the other hand up and over, or use the railing. You got it. Props are our friends. So how straight, how strong can we make that back leg? And this is so beautiful. Shoulder stacking, heel right over top of the toes. Last 2 breaths wherever you are. One more full deep breath in. And on the exhalation, gazing at your left big toe. Maybe hands to your thigh to help yourselves up and around one last time. Last wide leg forward fold. On the in-breath, we're going to take our hands wide and get our peace fingers ready. On the exhalation, bend your knees as much as you need to pistol grip your big toes. On our in-breath, we lift our heads, we lift our hearts. And our exhalation draws us in. So the running joke in our classes are there are no kickstands allowed, meaning if your thumb is on the ground, you're going to lift it and seal the bind. So the peace fingers are binding and sealing with the thumb. Please feel how this is feeling. Does it feel like your pelvis is level? Is one side feeling tighter than the other? Could you use the abdominal wall to draw you in just a millimeter deeper? And shifting slightly into the balls of the feet only if you feel safe. One more full deep breath in and out. On our in-breath, we'll lift our heads, we'll lift our hearts. On our exhalation, hands to your knees or your waist. Inhaling all the way up to standing. And let's just heel, toe, or hop our feet together for a moment. Shaking out anything that needs a shake. Giving ourselves permission to daggy dance. And then please turn your toes slightly out and bring your feet wide. So we're coming into a malasana, a yogi squat. So variation 1 on a yogi squat absolutely can look like this. Variation 2, if the body will allow, we're coming down deeper. Perfect. So let's start with hands in prayer. We're always welcome to sit on a yoga block as well. So from here, I'd like for you to ground through your left hand and either just leave your right elbow on your thigh or take a moment to reach that hand high in a diagonal. We won't be here long, I promise. So finding external rotation through the knees. So push your knees towards the pinky toe. Taking 2 more breaths here. One more full deep breath in. And on the exhalation, both hands to the earth for a moment. Exaggerate the lift of your heart. And then I'd like for you to interlace your fingers, except for the index finger and thumb. And from there, taking your arms above as far as your shoulders will allow before we rise all the way up to standing and release the arms down and around. So from here, we're coming into a balance. We're going to call this star pose. So we'll shift the weight into our right foot. We'll send our arms wide, and I'm hoping I'm not blocking Annie's face. And from there, variation 1 is just a little tiny lift of your toe. So star pose can be just a little tiny tap of the toe, and we could do that a few times. Variation 2, we'll lift, we'll pause and hold, really working glute med and glute min. Draw the legs slightly back, just slightly, and then only if it feels good for you, just exploring a little bit more horizontal movement. Finding breath. I'm going to put my hand down because I feel like I'm blocking Annie. I'm going to rest that hand on my thigh. Would you guys like to do that too? So place your right hand on your right thigh as you take 2 more breaths. One more full deep breath in before we gently release. And once again, just shake out anything that needs a shake before coming back into our yogi squat. So pausing for a moment to deliberately press the knees wide, lift through the heart space. And when the time is right for you, grounding into your right hand, you're welcome just to rest your left hand or forearm on your knee, or sending it high on a diagonal. So the line of the arms is where our eye gaze normally goes. So following your left arm right to the tips of your fingers. Knees press wide. Taking one more full, smooth, deep breath in before gently releasing both hands to the earth. And I'd like you to stay here for a moment, just pressing wide momentarily before you take Durga Mudra a second time. Interlace the fingers and then reach hands as far above you as your shoulders will allow. Before that nasty way of standing up with no hands, releasing the arms just horizontal to the earth. Shift the weight to your left foot and begin to test the waters. So lifting and lowering as many times as you like. And then only if it feels right, extending through that leg, a slight shift back before exploring the horizontal. Please feel free to use the rail, Shannon. Annie and I will pop our left hand on our left thigh. Belly strong, eye gaze steady as we work this component of fitness, of longevity. Taking 2 more breaths. One more full breath, please, before gently releasing and letting go. Come all the way back to this end of your mat. Let's just sweep the arms overhead as we move down to the earth. Exhaling into your forward fold. On the in-breath, lift your heads, lift your hearts. On your exhalation, please step your right leg way back and grounding the knee just as we did in our warm-up, please. So shifting weight forward slightly, lifting through the heart space, and melting the shoulders away. Last 3 breaths. One more breath, please. From here, I'd like for you to walk your left foot towards the outer edge of your mat. And once it arrives there, you'll place your left hand on your thigh. Move your right hand a little bit towards the top diagonal and spinning open once again. So before we move into our peak pose of Hanumanasana, we just want to give our hip flexors a tiny bit more love. So variation 1, this is it. We stay right here. Option 2, you'll bend into your right leg. You'll search for that foot with your right hand. And sometimes a helping hand is necessary. Once you find that shape, do you want to stay high? Or if coming down to your forearm feels available for you, you'll take that option, but never ever necessary. Look at you two. Roll your hearts open. Flood the breath into the front of your hip. So once again, this idea of I give myself permission to. I give myself permission to the sacredness of simplicity. Sometimes less is more. One more full deep breath in the shape you're in before you gently ease your way back up, releasing your back leg. And please bring that foot back towards the midline. We're shifting our weight back into Ardha Hanumanasana, so half Hanumanasana. And this is the perfect place to stay, as we did in our warm-up. Maybe once again taking right hand to your foot. But if you're exploring Hanumanasana, you'll just slide your weight forward through your left leg, and you'll begin to inch your back leg back. And every shape we take is absolutely Hanumanasana. So we're not concerned about getting our pelvis down to the earth. We're not concerned about getting our head to our knee. We are honoring how our body is feeling, using blocks, using props, wherever you are. So can you open through your collarbones, soften a little bit through your shoulders, your faces, and I'd like for you to close your eyes and just really stay with us for a moment. So as we move into this new year, could we practice the sacredness of simplicity rather than another resolution, something else we have to add to our to-do list? Is there a way that you can simplify your life? Are there things that you could let go of so that you could make more room, more space for the things and the people that really matter to you? Taking one more full breath into your version of Hanumanasana. And only when the time is right for you, it doesn't have to be pretty or graceful. We're just going to ease our way back towards the midline. Once we arrive in a low lunge, we'll lift the back leg. We'll slide to our high plank. And I don't know if you realize it, but this is our first chaturanga after a long break from it. Baby cobra, upward facing dog. Before we lift ourselves up and back into our downward facing dog. I'd like for you to feel how different one side of the body is feeling. Inviting movement in only if you wish. Taking 2 more breaths here. One more full, deep, smooth breath in and out. On the in-breath, we'll just lift to the tips of our toes. On the out-breath, we'll bend our knees. Our right foot needs to step between our hands, so help yourself if you need. And once we've arrived there safely, just begin with the chest stacking over top of the knee, exaggerating the length of the spine, the descent of the pelvis. Taking 2 more breaths. And when the time is right, you'll just ease your right foot over to the outer edge of your mat. And please angle your left hand towards the top corner. From there, we're twisting and turning the torso towards the right thigh, with the right hand pressing the right knee wide. This is such a beautiful stretch, and nothing more is needed, especially if you're feeling exactly what you're looking for. Variation 2, we're bending into the back leg. We're searching for this foot, which sometimes requires us to shift the weight back to find the foot. and sometimes a helping hand from a friend. If you stayed here before on the first side, please do again. If you lowered to your forearm as Shannon and Annie did, please go there again. So just know that regardless of the shape that you're choosing, everyone is on their own journey. We can be a masterpiece and a work in progress all at the same time. And to really recognize the fact that our bodies do not feel the same from one day to the next. So this posture, which feels delightful today, might not feel that way tomorrow. And to really let go of the internal criticism, the harshness that we judge ourselves with, and move into the space of self-compassion and kindness. Honoring our bodies, giving our bodies permission to feel different one day to the next. Taking one more breath as you are. And when you're ready, you'll just trace your steps back out of the shape you chose. And with eager anticipation, we're moving back into our Ardha Hanumanasana. So we frame our foot, we lengthen through the right leg. We want to begin by lengthening through the spine, drawing the left hip forward, right hip back. And if this feels like the perfect shape for you, you're staying, perhaps taking left hand to your right foot. Or if you did on the first side, you're beginning to slide your right heel forward, left leg back, using blocks, using pillows, any prop that helps you feel supported in this shape. And once again, feeling how different one side of the body can feel. So we're squaring through the pelvis. We're actively engaging the muscles that support us. So those are your abdominals, your left glute. You might be able to engage your right quadricep, but I'd love for you to close your eyes once again. Comparison is the thief of joy. So we close our eyes, so we come into the sacred connection with our breath, our bodies, honoring this temple that houses our soul, our spirit, and feeling a celebration as we breathe into this new day, this new year. I can be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. And that is the most beautiful journey of life, to always be working towards something at the same time, lovingly accepting what is. Taking 2 more breaths, please. One more full deep breath in. Ladies, I'm not sure if we can sit on our right cheek, but that's where we're going to try and go to. Again, it doesn't have to be graceful or pretty, but we'll bring our legs around. A sigh of relief, a celebration as the hands go high on the in-breath. And then, feels so good to ease our way into a Paschimottanasana. Take one breath to exaggerate the lengthening of your spine. And then please just tuck your chin, bow your head, and just come into this beautiful restorative shape. If it feels good to gently rock the body from side to side, a little sway, please do so. Taking 2 more breaths with a little bit of movement. And then could you find stillness in this moment? Feeling the breath moving the body. Feeling how the body responds to your presence, to your awareness. Taking one more full deep breath in. and out. On your in-breath, we'll lift our heads and our hearts. On the exhalation, we'll ease our way up to a seated position. Boat pose, please, Navasana, when you're ready. So we're bending the knees. We're holding onto the back of the thighs if we need a little bit of extra support today. So variation 1, just focus on your posture. Variation 2, hands reach forward and shins come parallel. So taking eye gaze to your big toes, can you exaggerate the length of the spine? And rather than worrying about lifting the legs, could you draw the knees just a little bit closer towards your chest? That's it. Big toes touching, eye gaze steady on your big toes. Taking 2 more breaths, please. 1 more full deep breath in. And on your exhalation, release your feet. Take your hands underneath, holding onto your forearms or your elbows. Tuck your chin and really roll back away from yourself. Send the breath between your shoulder blades, into your middle back, your lower back, and all the way down into the back of your pelvis. 2 deep breaths remaining. On your next inhalation, please lift your heads and hearts. And because we have party hats on, we should do at least one thing that is messy, right? Definitely. So we're going to cross our ankles. You'll cross your right over your left, right over your left. Your hands are facing this way, and you're holding on to your pinky toe side. So once we've arrived in the shape, this is option 1. Shannon's strategically moving towards the end of her mat. She knows what's coming. So variation 1, we're just focusing on, we'll call this our Humpty Dumpty move. So just balancing on our sit bones. Variation 2, we tuck our chin and we really consciously roll through our spine. We could stay here for variation 2. Variation 3, it's an inhale to prepare. And on the exhalation, we could roll down. And on the inhalation, we stick the landing. Maybe, it doesn't matter. We roll back on the out breath. We stick the landing, maybe on the in-breath. There's 4 more in your own time. Exhaling, inhaling. Got it? Exhaling, inhaling. This really is a yoga posture, I promise. Exhaling, inhaling. How many more? 1 more. Exhale, inhale, pause and hold. Can you release your hands but keep your feet off the ground? Beautiful. Elbows press back, knees to chest, heels towards the hips. Last 2 breaths. 1 more full breath in before gently releasing the feet, releasing the hands, and let's lower ourselves all the way down, please. Well done, you guys. Hug your knees in. A moment of self-love and self-celebration. Gently rocking the knees from side to side. And when the time is right for you, I'd like for you to ground through your left foot and send your right leg long. Variation 1, hands to the hamstrings. Variation 2, you could go to your calves. And variation 3, peace fingers to your big toe with your left hand resting on your left thigh. From there, if you feel like there's space to play with, you'll lengthen through your left leg. So there's energy and power still in our legs, but we're endeavoring for a moment to soften through the back of the body. 1 more breath with our heads grounded. For variation 1, please stay down. And only if it feels right, you'll lift your head, you'll lift your shoulders. So your left hand is reaching for your left knee. Your forehead is reaching for your right knee. We're staying and breathing for 2 more breaths, please. 1 more full deep breath in. And on the exhalation, release your head. If you have space, you could take your left arm out to the side. And then we'll just ease the right leg open any amount that the body will allow. Eye gaze could be to the ceiling, or you could look to your left. And if there isn't enough space, we could always leave your left hand on your left thigh. So pelvis is level. We're really making the legs as long as we possibly can. Feeling that beautiful stretch through the hamstring, the adductor on the right, and a little bit of hip flexor on the left. Take one more breath as you are. And on your next in-breath, return your leg, return your eyes. On the exhalation, lift your head, lift your heart before gently releasing your head and your shoulders. Could you ground through your left foot? Leave your right leg high, but place your hands by your pelvis, please. Point your toes towards the ceiling. Ground through the four corners of your left foot. And when the time is right, could you lift into a single leg bridge? So variation 1, please keep both feet on the floor. Variation 2, right knee could be bent. And variation 3, we're lengthening through that leg. Press down into your left foot, press down into your hands, and really feel the four corners of your left foot, your left hamstring, your left glute. Taking one more full breath in before crossing your right foot over your knee and lowering your pelvis to the earth. Once you've arrived there, option to keep your left foot on the earth with your right hand pressing the thigh wide. Variation 2, we're threading through, coming into a reclining pigeon or reclining figure 4. Please check your left hip is aligned with your left knee. As you hug the knees closer, you deliberately soften your shoulders more. I give myself permission to release, to relax, to follow my heart, to learn how to dance, to be as brave as Annie and ride a bike, melting through the head, through the shoulders, through the spine, through the tailbone. I give myself permission to be me. I give myself permission to authentically be me. One more breath before we gently ground into our left foot. I'd like for you to cross that leg over tightly. Let's take cactus arms today, and we'll shift our pelvis slightly to the left. And we're taking an open twist today with the knees moving towards the right. So you'll feel this a lot more through your TFL and through your hip flexor than when we do a closed twist. So eye gaze to ceiling, maybe looking to your left. And because it's a stronger twist, there's less mobility for most of us this way. So you might need to use something underneath your thigh for support if it's not feeling good to your body. Please close your eyes. Inhabit your inner world. Can you breathe a little bit more space into your hearts? Feel an openness arriving there. One more breath. Before returning your eyes, returning your knees, center the pelvis, uncross, and please gather your knees to your hearts when you're ready. We deload the spine for a moment by gently rocking. And then only when you feel ready, you'll ground into your right foot and you'll begin to send your left leg high. Shannon, are you okay space-wise? Yeah. Option to hold your calf, option to take peace fingers to your left big toe, right hand, right thigh, and then only if there's room to play, you're sliding your right leg long. Energize your legs, energize your core, and only if it feels available, there was a tuck of the chin, a lift of your head and shoulders. So we're using the core and we're using the arm strength to lift us. Right hand reaching for your knee, forehead reaching for your knee, staying and breathing for 3. One more deep breath in. And on the exhalation, we release our head and shoulders. You're opening as wide as your neighbor, as the wall, as your inner thigh will allow. We can leave the right hand on the thigh, or we can take that right hand wide. And we're turning our eye gaze towards the right. So pelvis level, shoulders level, legs are electric, they're energized. How long can you make your legs? As you feel that beautiful release coming into the inner thigh, the hamstring, the hip flexor. Last two. One more breath. Before we gently return our eyes, return our knee, and on the exhalation, lift your head, lift your shoulders one last time. Before releasing the head, bending through your right knee, release your left big toes, but keep that leg long and high. So coming into our single leg bridge, if that's a possibility. Variation 1, you could bring both feet to the floor. Variation 2, it's a bent knee. And then wherever you are, we're lifting on the next in-breath, working through the four corners of the right foot, feeling our right hamstring, our right glutes. How long and light can you make your left leg? Pressing down with your hands as well as your shoulders. Taking 2 more breaths. One more, please. We'll gently roll our way down one vertebra at a time before crossing the left foot over the right. Left hand to left thigh or threading through into your reclining figure 4. Right ankle, right knee, right hip, and right shoulder are all in one line. We're drawing the toes back as we nestle our shoulders into the earth. Flooding the body with your breath, with your awareness. Sending the breath, the prana, into those places that you need it the most. One more breath. Before grounding into the right foot, snugging the left leg over, taking your cactus arms, 90-degree elbow bend, shifting the pelvis slightly to your right, and moving into this open twist with your knees moving to the left. Your eye gaze can be on the ceiling or looking to your right, and then close down your eyes, affirming your new permission slip for the year. Remembering that simplicity is sacred. And sometimes we really do need to declutter our lives, making room for the important things, the things that bring us joy, the people that make us feel loved, supported, uplifted, and seen. Last 2 breaths. One more, please. Returning your eyes to the ceiling. Gently returning your knees to the midline. Release your pelvis, uncross your legs, and come into your final posture of happy baby pose, please. Stacking the ankles above the knees, holding onto hamstrings, calves, or your feet. Please draw your chin in to lengthen the back of your neck. Consciously relax your shoulders and your spine. Invite a little bit more heaviness into your tailbones. And gently begin to move only if that brings a sense of delight, joyfulness to your body. And those two things are the perfect litmus test for the things we want in our lives. Joyfulness, blissfulness. Taking 2 more breaths with conscious, mindful movements. Before finding your stillness, and embracing your stillness and your inner silence as we move into our final posture of Shavasana. So we will release your knees back to your chest, grounding through your feet, and allow your legs to slide long if your body will allow. Claiming a little bit of space with your feet, with your hands. And just feather your own nest, so really just snuggle in. Taking any last little fidgets you need to release any excess energy in the body. And as we move into these final few moments of practice, just silently affirming once again, I give myself permission to. I give myself permission to. And now as I travel further into the 5th decade of my life, this desire to really simplify, to let go of the shoulds and shouldn'ts, to let go of people pleasing, to let go of the labels, the masks, the titles, and to only surround myself with people like Shannon and Annie. People that always leave me feeling uplifted, optimistic, supported, seen, and most importantly, loved. You can sit up, Annie, if you need. So just taking 2 more breaths as we are. Moving towards this new year with a sense of lightness, with a sense of hope, as we consciously choose what and who will fill this year with us. And when the time is right for you, we'll begin to gently bring a little bit of movement back into our fingers, our toes, a little bit of movement into our wrists and ankles, our elbows, our shoulders, our necks. And only if it feels good to your body, you'll take your arms overhead, reaching from fingertip to toe, celebrating the aliveness of our bodies as we draw our arms down and around and bend our knees one at a time. We'll gather our knees to our hearts, We'll consciously hug ourselves lovingly. We'll consciously rock our bodies gently, a sense of sweetness. And when you're ready, please roll lightly onto the right hand side of the body, just lingering for a moment with our eyes closed, inside lying, blessing our own bodies. And when the time is right for you, you'll ease your way back up to sitting. Come back, Annie. Come back, Annie. This party's just not the same without you. And as we come into a seated position, stacking our ear over our shoulders over our hips, we bring our hands to our hearts. Celebrating the sacredness of simplicity, celebrating the sacredness of friendship, and celebrating the sacredness of our yoga practice. Always better when we share with friends. Taking one more breath together before closing our New Year's party together with a bow. Namaste. And our hat stayed on the whole time. Happy New Year!